You are about to listen to the Neverdaily podcast.
This is the biggest thing since the Zapruder film.
So many questions.
I don't have any answers.
But please don't stop listening
To the Neverdaily podcast.
Welcome to the Neverdaily podcast. It is Friday. Which Friday is it? We don't know. It's Friday.
Looking forward to down, baby. Your street and a Range Rover.
It's actually Monday, but we're recording it. No, we don't want to let them know. We're recording this for Friday. Darn it. Shoot.
We're trying to be more professional, and we're trying to get things. Why does Chase keep coming in and leaving?
We invited Chase in, and I think he's having problems with his webcam.
Oh, okay. Well, we're trying to get more professional and actually get ahead of things like a real media company would, and not record something and then release it 11 minutes later.
Which is very hard to do, but we've done it for years.
Yes.
So stupid. Anyway, I wanted to ask you, Kent, what, now you, excuse me, you were a bit, AWOL this weekend.
Right.
What were you doing this weekend?
I go AWOL every weekend.
That's true.
So I don't know why this is suddenly an issue.
It's not. It's just
boss. You know, whenever I worked at B&H, I didn't clock out on Friday, and then Monday come around, and my manager Pat wasn't like, "Hey, I didn't hear nothing from you Saturday and Sunday. You got a fucking problem?" Like, no,
well,
Pat.
Did Pat love you?
He did, and I still love Pat, and he still loves me. I still talk to him all the time. But what I'm saying is, when I clocked out on Friday, me not speaking with him until Monday wasn't an issue.
Yeah. Weird. I really don't know how
But
to
if you must know,
what
did I do? Saturday, I took the kids, me and my wife took the kids to my aunt's to swim in her pool. And then we had a pool party, and then we visited my grandma. And then Sunday, we went and visited my wife's family. And it was all very chill family stuff all weekend.
When you're at a family thing like that, you roll in, there's some family stuff going on. How are you? Like what?
Well, it depends on who we're visiting. Like, if we're visiting my wife's family, if we're visiting, like, say, my wife's dad, I'm in my element there, because that means we're going to be in a holler, and somebody is liable to start shooting at any time. And I wish I was kidding. I'm not. It's a very shady place to be. Wonder what that noise is.
That's weird. What happened?
You hear that?
I did hear it.
I still hear it.
What is it? I don't know. It can't
Where's
be.
that coming from?
Hey, Chase, say something.
Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah. But it says you're muted. That's weird.
I think my camera is just on the fritz right now.
Oh, man. It's German?
Yes, it is super German. Well, here I come to ruin the recording.
Well, it's not really ruining as much as we're just getting
I've already done that.
It just feels like we are in a bag of marbles in your grandma's bottom drawer in a cupboard somewhere. That's just...
It's like, we feel like you're just witnessing something not exciting.
So,
like you're a fly on the wall of an elderly home. That's what it feels.
Smells like pee too.
Hey, there he is. He's back, and he doesn't sound like he's in a drawer. Thanks for joining us from Narnia. Chase is here.
Like the most exciting thing this fly is going to see is somebody die from life.
Jeez.
Die of too many experiences.
Oh man. Well, it's supposed to be Friday, so Kent
So yeah,
brought-
it's just like visiting my father-in-law is exciting because you don't know what the fuck is going to go on down there. Like it is, it's very exciting. It gets the blood moving a little bit. There could be a fight break out at any moment. There's always a barking dog, possibly tearing at your ankle. And you have to urinate in a creek, and it's just it's very fun. So I enjoy that. So what was the question?
Yeah, just what you did this weekend. It was how are you in those environments? So you're in your element there.
I'm
That's
fine.
Nice.
I'm fine.
That's fun. Where are you least in your own element, would you say?
It would probably be like maybe Auschwitz. Dachau. I would be way out of my element there. I would be
On
like,
a scale
I
of-
have never experienced anything like this, and I don't know what to do with my hands.
On a scale of the Holler to Castle Rock, Colorado, where my sister lives.
Yeah.
No, on a scale of the Holler to Auschwitz, where does Castle Rock, Colorado sit for you as far as how much of you in your element were you there?
Well, I'm white, so I fit like right in. The only thing that made me stand out in Castle Rock was my tattoos, because Castle Rock is probably the most. If I close my eyes and think about it, it's like just all white people, and all of them know what purse is popular, like right now. And all of them have a little annoying fucking dog and a big house. And if somebody that doesn't look like them moved in down the street, the police were going to be notified.
Beautiful
That's
place,
Castle Rock.
though.
So I could kind of, aside from my tattoos, I could kind of blend in. Oh, it's beautiful. It's absolutely gorgeous. But it's just the most, like, I'm trying to think of that, of like a movie that like would perfectly round up Castle Rock from
Stepford Wives.
Yes.
Or Seven Brides for Seven Brothers.
Where I'm more uncomfortable is I went to St. Louis once for a convention, and Jess just flipped me off.
Just flipped you off.
I am super uncomfortable in large cities. I feel claustrophobic. I feel panic attacks, anxiety. There's too much traffic. There's too many goddamn people. There's too much going on, and I feel like I'm in a cage. And I start wanting to like drop my head and start throwing bows. You know, like, get out of here.
Like you're
But you can't get it because cities are square miles, so you just got to throw bows for like 8 miles. And you're going to get your ass whooped before you get out of the city.
Yeah.
Because people are like, why is this hillbilly that's dragging a luggage carrier behind him throwing bows? It's an issue.
Where do sleeves go?
Where are his shoes?
Well,
The bottom of his feet scraped against my calf and cut me.
I had a weird thing happen this weekend. So have you ever seen the movie? Now this is one where it's like, if you've seen it, you've seen it. If you haven't, you haven't. And I don't really know what that means, but have you ever seen the movie? It's 1978, the movie Eraserhead.
Of course.
David Lynch.
Of course, David Lynch. Yeah, probably one of the most nonsensical, disturbing movies that's ever been made. And
So
if you're like, what is Eraserhead? It looks like Kramer from Seinfeld is on the cover of it.
yeah. And it had to have been the weirdest. But you can't look away. Also, in Eraserhead, David Lynch does something very interesting where he uses literally, I would call it a cacophony of noise. Almost every scene is cacophonically full of noise
Yes.
because everybody lives in this dystopian world. And it's like appropriate for the environment. Like if you're in somebody's little apartment, there's still a cacophony of noise, but it's like appropriate for being in a dystopian apartment. It's just so wild. But here's something I realized, like, movie was wild. I actually really enjoyed it.
What do you think it's about?
Well, if you go off, I'm not going to give it away for people, but if you go off the ending, you're like, wow, was this a really long joke with that as a punchline? It's so weird. But then
I don't know.
so
I've seen the movie several times. I don't know what it's about.
I would put it like this. I think that you watch 99.99% of the movie, and you don't have to. And then
it's
if
like
you
a
just watch,
1970s horror version of Napoleon Dynamite.
yeah, if you watch just the last 4 minutes, you pretty much, that's the movie. But if you don't watch the rest of the movie, you don't. It's not like if you watched the rest of the movie, you'd be like, oh, now I get it. You don't. You could watch the last 4 minutes of the movie and be like, that's what the whole movie. That's not what the movie was about at all, but that's what the movie was about, if that makes sense. It's the weirdest movie. But here's something I learned about myself. So, and I really sat with myself in my brain after this movie for a bit on this one, because I felt so calm during the movie and I couldn't figure out why. Like I was getting sleepy watching this wackadoo movie, which normally I'd be like, oh my gosh, and I couldn't look away, but I was so comforted. It was so weird. So the movie finishes and I'm like, what? Why? Why did I feel that way? And rewound it, played a couple plays, just random to see if, if it were like certain scenes or something in the scene. And I realized what it was the cacophony of noise. Basically what it is imagine there's like a steel mill on the other side of like a rocket propulsion test factory. And they're both 2 miles away from you, and you're sitting in a field at midnight. Okay. So nothing's going on except for the ambience of the field around you and whatever noise you're picking up from these distant factories. And I realized that the noise in the background of the movie was that it was like industrial ASMR, but I couldn't figure out.
Chase Ellerman was a part of the
every story Chase writes in a musical.
No, I'm talking about he was trying to be a part of the movie, but all you could pick up was his background noise of
yeah. Chase Ellerman's drawer. Yeah, but so I was like, okay, but that weirded me out because why was I so calmed by industrial ASMR? Because it was like 9 Inch Nails trying to put you to bed. But I figured out what it was is when I was a little kid, my mind was so active, overactive. I'd go to bed. I hated the dark, hated having the door open too, though, because if the door was open a crack, like let's say 2 to 3 inches, I would sit there and stare at that crack and believe that the crack kept opening and closing a little bit all the time, which it might have been because your air conditioning kicks on and kicks off. It changes anyway, I was a mess my whole childhood. Like, I don't know why. I hated going to bed. I hated being alone. I hated dark rooms. I hated not dark rooms. But one thing that made me like totally have like comfort and let me kind of lull myself into sleep was out of my window, I could see there was this little highway above Issaquah, Washington that skirted the road. And from my window, every once in a while, I'd look up there and I'd see those really bright lights at like 2 a.m. from some construction project that's going on. And they got to get it done in the middle of the night because it's traffic during the day, you know? I would look up there and I'd see those. And if you listened really carefully, you could hear the construction. And it always comforted me thinking I'm not the only one awake right now. And it would let me go to sleep because I'd know that there were like people like awake somewhere. And I realized that like I'm really into industrial ASMR because of that.
My similar story to yours. The trailer I grew up in, on the backside of my family's field where our trailer set was a cemetery. And I grew up in farmland, so there wasn't any ASMR. But I was always scared of that cemetery because, you know, my window faced it. You could see the cemetery.
Mm-hmm.
I told my mom about it one time. I was probably like, I don't know, 9, 10 years old, that it creeped me out. And she's like, I understand. I was, you know, little. And my mom grew up in that same plot of land. Her house was right next to where she grew up at. So she had the exact same experiences growing up. And she's like, you know, your Uncle Gene is buried in that cemetery. And a lot of people were afraid of him. And I understand that you're afraid, but whenever I was little, I had nightmares that Uncle Gene was walking through the field dead with his arms out saying, "Give me the baby."
What?
Give me the baby. And I had those nightmares a lot when you were born, Kent, that Uncle Gene was reaching for you and saying, "Give me the baby. Give me the baby." So sleep good, baby. That's true.
Wow.
That actually
Follow-up question for you on that. Wow.
I was like, okay,
You know,
Mom.
In the last Neverdaily,
I'm not going to get a little sleep tonight.
you mentioned how we get a lot of responses from people saying they relate with my mom from the mother of all episodes. I want to know if anyone can relate with Kent's mom on that one. Just let us know.
That's 100% true. Did have an Uncle Gene. He was great with my family, but people were afraid of Uncle Gene because he was not one to be tasseled with. He would always give my mom like dollar bills when she was little and growing up, but everybody was afraid of him for some reason. And then he died. He was buried in that graveyard, and my mom would have nightmares when she was pregnant and when I was little of Uncle Gene coming through the field saying, "Give me the baby. Give me the baby," with his arms out. And she'd chose to tell me that in a period when I was very vulnerable and scared of the graveyard. And then she kissed me on the forehead and sent me into the dreamscape.
Okay, I have a follow-up question for you. Is this the cemetery that is connected to the AutoZone in your town?
No. That was later in life when I moved out on my own. I guess just to feel comfortable, I had to be in a cemetery, because the first place, that I got on my own was in a cemetery. The cemetery went around the back and the sides of the apartment building. And there was a tombstone 9 feet from our back window.
I could set this up for people that can't visualize it. Imagine.
I showed it to you when you came to my town.
Yeah, you drove me around. We went behind the AutoZone.
Yeah.
And drove up. So imagine from the air, you're looking at a C shape, and the back of the C shape are the apartments. And it's just this like double-decker apartment setup. You know, it's no frills, sort of like a motel. And then the top of the C is the cemetery. It's flanking it's perpendicular to. And then the bottom of the C is an AutoZone where I believe the reason you got kicked out of your apartment finally was because in a drunk stupor, your roommate
Chris Decker
jumped from your front door stoop
Naked.
naked through the roof of the AutoZone just below.
He didn't fall through. He got on and started dancing on the roof of the AutoZone naked, and that set off the security systems in the AutoZone. It's actually a Napa, but AutoZone Napa, it's all the same.
Napa.
And that caused, they didn't appreciate it at all. It's actually the same graveyard my dad is buried in, too.
Was he buried when you lived there?
No, he was still alive then.
Okay. All right.
He didn't know that was about to be his permanent residence.
Also, that seems poetic. Like, hey, he's up in heaven and somebody's like, hey, so where are you buried? He's like, where that Napa?
But a lot of my
Napa
family is buried in that cemetery. My dad was actually buried next to my great-grandparents. And so at the time, my great-grandparents were buried there.
Oh, okay. So that cemetery's been there longer than the Napa Auto Parts.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, there's like 1800s graves in that cemetery.
Okay.
And also, you forgot to mention that because the back end of the apartment building is halfway underground. So, like, if you look out the back window, the ground starts at like your neck, right?
The back parking lot of the Napa is you're looking up at the second story, like they carved out the bottom.
So the
story.
graveyard, when you're looking at the grave, is at face level.
Yeah.
And then Decker put his bed right up against that wall, which means that technically, and because the grave is facing the window, that means that the base of the coffin is probably about 3 foot from Decker's head. And he would complain about cold spots in there, and I'd be like, yeah. You're sleeping in a morgue.
Packed in there like Willy Wonka and his family. Oh, man. All right. Well, it's 21 minutes and 54 seconds into the episode, so I think we'll get started. Hey, Kent.
What
What did you bring for us today?
Creepy pasta. Friday.
That was good.
Today I've got 2 creepy pastas. Actually,
Uh-huh.
one recommended by one of our listeners that I've never read, but according to her, it's a good one. It's called the Dybbuk Box. And I'm excited for I'm excited for both of them, but I'm particularly excited for the second one because it was written by one of our listeners, Teresa Lohman Hunter, a good friend of her and her husband, Stephen, that they always make sure to meet us at gatherings, and they've actually become good friends of us. Teresa and Stephen Opp. We've actually gotten, I have actually gotten, and Jess have gotten drunk with them before, and I have on multiple occasions, and they're just fun people to be around. And Teresa herself has written a creepypasta that I'm excited to read.
I'll tell you this about Teresa and Stephen. You know that you are close friends when you're hanging out at night, and in my head, I'm like, oh no, I should go mention to Teresa and Stephen that they should check up on their kids because, they should check in with the babysitter because they said that they should check in with the babysitter at a certain time.
Yeah.
Like I know their situation well enough that I'm like, hey, alarm goes off in my head when I know that time's almost up for them hanging out.
Yeah. Started out as listeners, ended up being really good friends.
Yeah. They're great.
I drink with them every chance I get. I love hanging out with Teresa and Stephen.
Yeah,
But Teresa, she wrote a creepypasta here, and I'll read her second. But the first one is an actual creepypasta, and this was, like I said, recommended by one of our listeners, called the Dybbuk Box. It's supposedly one of the top-rated creepypastas. So if this one isn't good, I don't know what to say. It's got an 8.67 out of 10 from 112,000 votes. So
will you spell that? What are you saying in the title?
Dybbuk, Dibbuk.
Dybbuk. Okay.
Yeah, Dybbuk. Yeah.
Okay.
So the first one is the Dybbuk Box, and trying to find the author here. Let's see here. For some reason, whenever I try to minimize it, the entire screen goes white and I can't read it. So I'm not going to be able to see you guys while I read this.
That's all right.
Where's the author of this?
Are you going to say who recommended it?
Wrote it. Oh, yeah.
See, that was the thing I forgot. So I was going to try to pretend like
He was looking something else up because he didn't want to air the fact.
I wasn't going to shed light on that. I forgot
on who he forgot to recommend it. Don't worry, Ken. I never shout out the people that recommend stuff to me. I just steal it, and then they're mad
this
at me.
isn't technically stealing. They didn't write this. They just recommended it. Okay, it's like the thing, and I'm sure the person that recommended it doesn't even care. But like what you're doing right now is that thing. Whenever like you share a meme on Facebook and you're like, could have got a like. Thanks for like you didn't fucking make this meme. You stole it too. So what does it matter if I like commented or like gave a like to your? What does it even matter? Like they're wanting like recognition.
They probably emailed all their friends and were like, "Oh my gosh, I just talked to my most favorite podcaster ever. He says he's going to read. So make sure you listen in."
Listen, all I know is somebody recommended the Dybbuk box, and I would like to thank that person. They know who they are.
It was Molly Sue.
It wasn't Molly? I thought it was Molly.
She's in the back door.
Yeah.
Thank you, Molly.
She is in our back door. Thank you, Molly.
Thank you, Molly. And I actually just accidentally closed out the window that had the story of the Dybbuk box. So
moving on.
Let me find that again. And now
we're just going to start at the front of the Napa and tell you what's in a Napa Auto Parts.
So thank you, Molly Sue. And here we go. This is the Dybbuk. Right now, I'm really trying to find out who wrote the Dybbuk box.
You know, while you do that, I'll bring in some little ambient music for this story. Nah, it doesn't sound good.
I'm not finding an author, so I don't know. This is the Dybbuk box.
Okay.
Okay. I don't know. No author. So this is the Dybbuk box. Action. All of the events that I'm about to set forth in this listing are accurate and may be verified by the winning bidder with the copies of hospital records and sworn affidavits that I am including as part of the sale of the cabinet. During September of 2001, I attended an estate sale in Portland, Oregon. The items liquidated at this sale were from the estate of a woman who had passed away at the age of 103. A granddaughter of the woman told me that her grandmother had been born in Poland, where she grew up, married, raised a family, and lived until she was sent to a Nazi concentration camp during World War II. She was the only member of her family who survived the camp. Her parents, brothers, a sister, husband, and 2 sons and a daughter were all killed. She survived the camp by escaping with some other prisoners and somehow making her way to Spain, where she lived until the end of the war. I was told that she acquired the small wine cabinet listed here in Spain, and it was one of the only 3 items that she brought with her when she immigrated to the United States. The other 2 items were a streamer trunk and a sewing box. I purchased the wine cabinet along with the sewing box and some other furniture at the estate sale. After the sale, I was approached by the woman's granddaughter who said, "I see you got the Dybbuk box." She was referring to the wine cabinet. I asked her what a Dybbuk box was, and she told me that when she was growing up, her grandmother always kept the wine cabinet in her sewing room. It was always shut and set in a place that was out of reach. The grandmother always called it the Dybbuk box. When the girl asked her grandmother what was inside, her grandmother spit 3 times through her fingers. Her grandmother spit 3 times through her fingers, said, "A Dybbuk and a Kesselim." The grandmother went on to tell the girl that the wine cabinet was never, ever to be opened. The granddaughter told me that her grandmother had asked that the box be buried with her. However, as such a request was contrary to the rules of an Orthodox Jewish burial, the grandmother's request had not been honored. I asked the granddaughter what a Dybbuk and a Kesselim were, but she did not know. I asked if she would like to open it with me. She did not want to open it, as her grandmother had been very emphatic and serious when she instructed her not to do so, and regardless of the reason, she wanted to honor her grandmother's request. I finally ended up offering to let her keep what seemed to me to be a sentimental keepsake. At that point, she was very insistent and said, No, you bought it. I explained that I didn't want my money back and that it would make me feel better to do what I thought was an act of kindness. She then became somewhat upset. Looking back now, the way she became upset was just plain odd. She raised her voice to me and said, "You bought it. You made a deal." When I tried to speak, she yelled, "We don't want it." She began to cry, asked me to leave, and quickly walked away. I wrote the whole episode off to the stress and grief she must have experienced. I took my purchases and I politely left. At the time when I bought the cabinet, I owned a small furniture refinishing business. I took the cabinet to my store and put it in my basement workshop where I intended to refinish it and give it as a gift to my mother. I didn't think anything more about it. I opened my shop for the day and went to run some errands, leaving the young woman who did sales for me in charge. After about a half hour, I got a call on my cell phone. The call was from my salesperson. She was absolutely hysterical and screaming that someone was in my workshop breaking glass and swearing. Furthermore, the intruder had locked the iron. That would be funny if that's all this Dybbuk box did, right? If you just heard, fuck. Bitch. Just sounded like somebody was really clumsy and mad that they stubbed their toe. Fucking whore. God damn it. That's all a Dybbuk is, a clumsy demon. It's constantly stubbing its toe on things with glass. Anyways. She was absolutely hysterical, screaming that someone was in my workshop breaking glass and swearing. Furthermore, the intruder had locked the iron security gates and the emergency exit, and she couldn't get out. As I told her to call the police, my cell phone battery went dead. I hit speeds of 100 miles per hour getting back to the shop. When I arrived, I found the gates locked. I went inside and found my employee on the floor in a corner of my office sobbing hysterically. I ran to the basement and went downstairs. At the bottom of the stairs, I was hit by an overpowering, unmistakable odor of cat urine. There had never been any animals kept or found in my shop, by the way. The lights didn't work. As I investigated, I found that the reason the lights didn't work also explained the sounds of glass breaking. All of the light bulbs in the basement were broken. All 9 incandescent bulbs had been broken in their sockets, and 10 4-foot fluorescent tubes were lying shattered on the floor. I did not find an intruder, however. I should also add that there was only one entrance to the basement. It would have been impossible for anyone to leave without meeting me head on. I went back up to speak with my salesperson, but she had left. She never returned to work after having been with me for 2 years. She refuses to discuss the incident to this day. I never thought of relating the events of that day to anything having to do with the cabinet, but then things got worse. As I already indicated, I had decided to give the cabinet to my mother as a birthday gift. About 2 weeks after I made the purchase, I decided to get started refinishing it. I was surprised to find that the cabinet has a unique little mechanism. When you open one of the doors, the mechanism causes the opposite door and the little drawer below to open at the same time. It is very well made. Inside of the cabinet, I found the following items. 1 1928 U.S. wheat penny. 1 1925 U.S. wheat penny. Don't say a fucking word. Not a word.
Not say anything.
1 small lock of blonde hair bound with string. 1 small lock of black and brown hair bound with string. 1 small granite statue engraved and gilded with Hebrew letters. I have been told that the letters spell out the word shalom. 1 dried rosebud. 1 golden wine cup. 1 very strange black cast iron candlestick holder with octopus legs. I saved all of the items in a box, intending to return them to the estate. The family has refused the items, so they will be included in the sale of the cabinet. After opening the cabinet, I decided not to refinish it. I cleaned it and rubbed in some lemon oil. It was at this time that I noticed that there was an inscription in Hebrew carved into the back of the cabinet. I have no idea what it says or if it is significant. I have included a picture of that inscription below. On my mother's birthday, October 28th, 2001, my mother called to me to tell me that she was going out of town with my sister for 3 days, and we postponed celebrating her birthday together until she returned. On October 31st, 2001, my mother came to my shop. We were going to have lunch together, but before we were going to leave, I gave her the wine cabinet. She seemed to like it. While she examined it, I went to make a phone call. I hadn't been out of sight more than 5 minutes when one of my employees came running into my office saying that something was wrong with my mom. When I went back to see what the matter was, I found my mom sitting in a chair beside the cabinet. Her face had no expression, but tears were streaming down her cheeks. No matter how I tried to get her to respond, she would not. She could not. It turns out that my mother had suffered a stroke. She was taken to the hospital by ambulance. She ended up suffering partial paralysis and losing her ability to speak and form words. She has since regained the ability to speak, though. She could understand things being said to her and could respond by pointing to letters of the alphabet to spell out words she wanted to say. When I asked her the following day how she was doing, she teared up and spelled out the words N-O-G-I-F-T, which spells no gift. I assured her that I had given her a gift for her birthday, thinking that she didn't remember. But she became even more upset and spelled out the words, hate gift. I laughed and told her not to worry. I told her I was sorry she didn't like the cabinet and that I would get her anything she wanted if she would promise to get well soon. Still, I don't associate anything that happened with the cabinet itself or anything paranormal. Frankly, I don't think I ever even used the term paranormal until this last month. I'll try to make this short now. I gave the cabinet to my sister. She kept it for a week and then gave it back. She complained that she couldn't get the doors to stay closed and that they kept opening. There are no springs in the door mechanism, and I have never found that the doors come open. I gave it to my brother and his wife, who kept it for 3 days and then gave it back. My brother said it smelled like jasmine flowers, while his wife insisted that it put out an odor of cat urine. I gave it to my girlfriend, who asked me to sell it for her after only 2 days. I sold it the same day to a nice middle-aged couple, but 3 days later, when I came to open up the shop for the day, I found the cabinet sitting on the front doors with a note that read, "This has a bad darkness." I had no idea what that meant. Anyway, I ended up taking it home, and then things got even worse. Since the day I brought it home, I began having a strange recurring nightmare. Every time I have this horrible dream that it goes something like this. I find myself walking with a friend, usually someone I know well and trust at some point in the dream, and I find myself looking into the eyes of the person that I am with. It is then that I realize that there is something different, something evil looking back at me. At that point in my dream, the person I am with changes into what can only be described as the most gruesome, demonic-looking hag that I have ever seen. This hag proceeds to then beat the living tar out of me. I have awakened numerous times to find bruises and marks on myself where I had been hit by the old woman during the previous night. Still, I never related the nightmares to the cabinet, nor did I think that I ever would have. About a month ago, however, my sister and my brother and his wife came over to my house and spent the night. The following morning, during breakfast, my sister complained that she had had a horrible nightmare. She said that she recalled having had it a couple of times before. She recalled having had it a couple of times before and went on to describe my nightmare exactly to the last detail. My brother and his wife froze as they listened and then chimed in that they had both had the exact same dreams during the night as well. The hair was standing up on the back of my neck and still is. As we talked, it became clear that the common denominator was that each of us had had the nightmare during the times that the cabinet was in our respective homes. I called my girlfriend and asked if she could recall having any nightmares recently. She described the same nightmare, same hag, same everything. When I asked her if she remembered the date when she had had the nightmare, she said she did not. Then I asked if it had happened to be the night before she gave me the cabinet back to sell her. She said, "Yeah. Hey, how did you know that?" Now then, since my family discussion, it seems like all hell is breaking loose. For a week afterward, I started seeing what I can only describe as shadow things in my peripheral vision. In fact, numerous visitors to my house have claimed that they have seen these shadow things. I put the cabinet in an outside storage unit and was awakened when the smoke alarm in the unit went off in the middle of the night. When I went to see what was burning, I opened the door and didn't see any smoke. However, I did get hit with the smell of cat urine. When I went back inside, the smell was there in my house. I do not own a cat, and I never have. I went back outside and grabbed the cabinet. I brought it back inside and tried to research it on the internet. While I was surfing the net, I fell asleep and once again had the same freaking nightmare. I woke up at around 4:30 a.m. when it felt and smelled like someone was breathing on my neck. to find that my house now smelled like jasmine flowers, and just in time to see a huge shadow thing go loping down the hall away from me. I would destroy this thing in a second, except I really don't have any understanding of what I may or may not be dealing with. I am afraid, and I do mean afraid, that if I destroy the cabinet, whatever it is that seems to have come with the cabinet may just stay here with me. I have been told that there are people who shop on eBay that understand these kinds of things and specifically look for these kinds of items. If you're one of these people, please buy this cabinet and do whatever you do with a thing like this. Help me. You can see that I have no reserve price or minimum bid. If I can make things any easier, let me know, and I will do everything within my abilities. One more note. On the same day my mom had her stroke, the lease to my store was summarily terminated without cause. The measurements are 12.5 inches by 7.5 inches by 16.25 inches. All of the items that I originally found inside the cabinet are included in the sale and will be delivered with the cabinet. On June the 12th of 2003 at 2:15:30 p.m., the seller added the following information. There is no way that I can respond to all of the emails I've received since I put this thing online. I'll try now to update and answer the most common questions I've been receiving. 1. No, I am not religious. 2. No, I do not wish to have or participate in any sort of exorcism or case study or photo sessions at my house. 3. No, I will not sell any of the individual pieces which were originally found separate from any of the pieces in the cabinet. 4. No, I do not speak Hebrew, nor do I know what the word keselim means. I don't know what the word is even, I do not know that the word is even a Hebrew word. 5. At the end of the auction, I have decided to take the opportunity to speak with the winning bidder for 2 reasons. A, to make sure that the winning bidder is a serious adult who has employed some valid reasoning skills in making the decision to accept whatever this is. I will not be judgmental. Do whatever you want or need after the sale. And B, to offer full details of the events that have transpired. After I have carried out those responsibilities and upon payment, I will have the cabinet and its contents delivered by U.S. Mail, FedEx, or UPS to the winning bidder. At that point, I will have no further involvement with the matter in any way, shape, or form, period. 6. To all of you who have offered to pray, I may not be religious, but I am certainly open to the possibilities. No matter what your religion might be, thank you. On June the 14th, 2003, at 5:16 p.m., the seller added the following information. Here is another update for everyone following this listing. No, I will not circumvent or make any deals outside of eBay, even for more money than the final auction price. If you want to win the auction and have the kind of money some of you are offering, there shouldn't be any reason why you cannot simply place your bid in an honest, open fashion. I'm sure you can understand why I might be suspicious. Also, for those of you wanting to know if I'm still experiencing anything out of the ordinary, I thought everything was going okay until I got home on Friday, the 13th of June, and found that the fish in my freshwater aquarium, all 10 of them, were dead. I'm still hoping that this is all coincidental crap. Publisher's note. I seem to recall that more follow-up information was initially available on this website, but it seems to have been removed, most likely to encourage interested parties to just bite the bullet and buy their book about the whole thing instead. For now, I'm just linking the book, but if anyone else stumbles upon the pages that go a bit more detail with the follow-up investigations and other details about this particular story, I would appreciate it if you would drop... Oh, never mind. I wasn't supposed to read that last part, but that was the Dybbuk box. And that's one of the top-rated creepypastas.
Yeah, I'm trying to... It was good.
I mean, it wasn't bad. We've definitely read way worse ones.
Yeah. We've read a lot of way worse ones. Like just this last Friday, we read a lot of really worse ones than that. Do you remember when we read a bunch of really worse ones than that last Friday?
No, I was on Ambien.
Yeah, we did.
The second creepypasta, so I don't want to eat up all of our time, I want to say is written by, like I said, Teresa Lohman Hunter, one of our listeners. And I really like this. I think it's a lot of fun. It doesn't have a title. So I'm just going to jump into it. And action.
Hold on, Jess is fingering you. One sec.
Ooh.
Jess, you just...
Oh.
What happened?
There is a title, depending on which one.
Oh.
Was it the first or second one I sent you?
The first one.
Windows open, maybe? Open window?
You're talking about You've Got Mail?
Oh, that.
Oh, yeah. It's called You've Got Mail.
There you go.
I'm such a dipshit because I'm reading this from my email. And I thought,
It said you've got
mail.
yeah.
Like it's the year 2000 and you're reading something from AOL.
Yeah. Sorry, guys. This is called You've Got Mail by Teresa Lohman Hunter. I'm a fucking idiot.
Well,
all right. You've got mail. And action. The heat is unbearable, as is the stench coming from the kitchen. Swarms of gnats around the dishes in the sink. I wish I had the power to wash them myself. I look towards the faucet, yearning for just a sip of fresh water. It's been months since it worked, but I can still remember the taste of the sparkling cool flow from the tap. Now I quench my thirst from whatever slowly drips from the back tub. I tiptoe through the kitchen, trying to knock over the mounds of discarded cans, big slurp cups, fast food wrappers, and stacks of years' worth of junk mail. Why do they even send these anymore? Is there anyone out there that's like, I need new windows? Thankfully, this leaflet came. I'll call 1-800-WINDOWS. Our windows are now covered with spider webs and grayish-brown film. I gaze out towards the backyard, staring longingly at what used to be my happy place. A luscious green and well-manicured lawn. I can almost make out the cobblestone path I used to take as I padded my way to the sunny spot by the creek. I loved spending hours in this garden, watching the butterflies flit and float amongst the cornflower, verbena, lavender, and honeysuckle. Oh, honeysuckle. Smells like heaven on earth. Lost in my daydream, I accidentally breathe in too deep, and the reality of my world makes me retch. The putrid smell of my home engulfs my entire head, leaving my stomach in knots. I nearly vomit, if only it had something more than bile to produce. I look out again at the overgrown jungle that used to be my playground. My thoughts interrupted by grumblings in my gut. I'm starving. I haven't had a decent meal in so many sunrises and sunsets. I've lost count. I suppose I could go to the back bedroom. I know I have something to nibble back there. It's a matter of making the trek without getting a foot stuck or having a mountain of trash crash down on me. This house is beyond comprehension. How did it get this bad? Why can't I do anything about it? I need help. I need to get someone to help. In that moment, I hear the puffering of a small engine. The mail is here, bringing more papers to keep in stacks, no doubt. I snake my way toward the front of the house, careful not to disturb the towering mounds of filth. I perch myself on the couch, peering out the front dust-covered window towards the porch. I need to get help. Maybe he can help. I drum at the window as he approaches. He smiles and waves. He sees me, yes. I move the curtain aside and continue my panicked efforts, signaling for him to come in. My eyes are begging, please, just open the door. See this place, see me, see I can't live like this. Please, I need help. But he doesn't open the door, just the mail slot, and tosses the weekly circulars and various unsolicited mail atop the ever-growing pile at the base of the door. My shoulders fall as I watch him turn and make his way back to the little truck. I'll try again tomorrow. Feeling defeated, I inch my way towards the back bedrooms. I don't want to, but the growls in my stomach lead the way. It's the only thing I can do. I'm so pathetic. No way out. I lean into the master bedroom. The stench is overwhelming. I wince, but what choice do I have in the matter? Onward I slowly move toward the en-suite. I round the corner. It's not pretty. But this will allow me to survive another day. Tomorrow I'll try again for help. Surely the mailman will hear me next time. I close my eyes and stretch up towards her arm hanging over the tub, sinking my teeth into her decomposing flesh. I'll meow even louder tomorrow.
Oh! Wow! That was amazing, actually.
One of the best ones we've ever read for Creepypasta Friday, and it was written by one of our listeners, Teresa a little bit.
Oh my gosh. I didn't even see it coming. Did you, Jess? Did you see that coming?
I mean,
She's the one that sent
I
it.
sent it to him.
Teresa sent it to Jess. Yeah, that's not the apocalypse. Her owner has just died in the bathtub, and it's just a cat.
But I didn't even wrap my head around. I didn't see that coming. Chase, did you see that coming?
Hell no, I didn't see that coming.
Wow. Teresa, you got a skill
I was
there.
super stoked about getting that one. Yeah.
I don't want to set her up for
She needs to write creepypastas.
We can
Yeah.
keep doing them if we read
Yeah.
good ones like hers.
It was great. It was fantastic.
Oh wow, Teresa, that was amazing. And there was parts of that that like I related with. As soon as they started talking about hoarding and stuff, I was like, oh no, everybody can see my my studio behind me. They're like, why is there a bass trap right here? Why are there bass traps?
Well, it kind of leads you to believe that this is the child of some hoarder. And, it's the apocalypse. The parents are dead.
yeah,
And
you
this
get
little
that,
girl or
you get
boy.
that like the helpless feeling. And at first I was thinking it's an adult, and I was like, okay, I could see that. Like somebody becomes such a hoarder that they're like, I don't know how to communicate that I need help, but I need help. I can't get out of this. And then oh wow, that was
the cat
good.
the whole time.
Eating the owner.
Yeah.
Wow,
That's fantastic.
that was really good.
And we have
You know what,
another one
maybe-
by Teresa.
Would you?
I'm not going to read it today. Next Friday,
Okay.
I'm going to definitely read it. But yeah, there's
Okay.
she sent two.
You know what? Let's do this. So let's help her out. Let's say it was all right, because we don't want to set a bar. We don't want her to be like, ah, man, now I got to bring it. So it was all right, Teresa. Nah, it was super good. I can't even do that.
Yeah, that pressure that you're feeling is what it used to feel like having a podcast.
How are you ever going to out Bob it yourself is what you felt after episode 1.
Yeah. And then I realized with TCK that, stories like Kenrex McElroy, stories like Elmer McCurdy, stories like, what was the guy with Iron Mike Malloy? Those are one in a million.
Mm-hmm.
Those are one in a million. And you just don't find stories like that every day. So it's not something that I like really sweat about anymore, because I used to be like, God, those stories are so funny even without adding anything to them. But it's hard to find stories like that. I mean, obviously I'm going to continue to look for them. That's always the goal of TCK, to find stories that are so absurd and odd without me adding anything to it. But they become fewer and far between.
Well, in a way, I kind of have resigned myself to believe that successfully podcasting is sort of like there's a handful of episodes we've done on 911 and other shows where I'm like, nailed it. Like they're stuck in my memory as probably our best work. TCK, same thing. There's a handful, right? And then in between, we've got this connective tissue of very good episodes, or in the case of 911, episodes.
Yeah.
Right. But I think, in a way, I kind of feel like you end up like Marvel comicking yourself into a place of very difficult waters if you're always trying to out wow the last episode. Like there's something about just being objective and being like, this is the story that I'm going to do the best I can with the story that I'm telling.
Yeah.
And then every once in a while, one like really resonates, or it's just bananas. But I think that's a step of burnout for a lot of podcasters often, is when they're like, I don't know if I can redo the level of rigor I put into that last episode. The story's what tells itself. So it shouldn't be about, how this, I don't know. Does that make sense?
It does. Yeah.
Okay. Well, those are good. I really liked those. I liked Teresa. I was hoping the busy box one
The
was going to
Dybbuk box.
do. Yeah, I thought maybe it was going to go kind of a Hellraiser route,
Yeah.
but it didn't.
The Dybbuk box is
Man,
more of a mellow kind of slow burn
Yeah, slow burn.
out.
Yeah, right into don't read it again.
You can only read a creepypasta once anyway. But I will say, Teresa, by the way, Molly, we've definitely read way worse creepypastas here. And
No,
to Teresa,
and I'm not
fantastic job.
right. And anybody else, I would say we run dry on creepypastas. So if you know one, send it, whether it's good or bad. We'll shout it out and then we'll beat it up and you'll feel bad for sending it. Takes a village, people. All right. I don't want to cut you off. Should I cut you off now?
I've actually got a third creepypasta.
Okay. All right.
This says suggested estimated reading time 48 minutes.
Okay. All right.
This one looks like it's about corn.
Is it funny when I say I don't want to interrupt you, but I had just interrupted you for a straight 7 minutes?
No, it's fine.
And then I said
Why
that.
don't you go ahead with your story op?
Oh, really? Oh, now?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, it's kind of unexpected, but this is wild. And this is something I personally relate with every time I open the fridge or anywhere where there's food. In a recent consumer survey by supermarket guru Phil Lempert, we all know Phil, he's a guru of supermarkets. A full 92% of consumers said that they find it hard to relate what they eat to the printed serving size on the package. Can you relate with this, Kent?
Yes, I can, because
So the FDA, it mandates that there be a serving size.
yeah, and it's always like way below what you eat.
Yeah.
It's like how many sleeves of Oreos is a serving size? And it turns out it's actually 1/2 of an Oreo. I don't eat the whole thing.
What's creepy about it too is that all of the marketing that goes into the packaging and everything, and then the actual size of the package, oftentimes is a complete different story than what that label says on the back. So I didn't know this necessarily, but a couple things about those nutritional labels. Here's a fun fact to know and share. If the label on the back says nutrition information or nutritional information, that can be purchased with food stamps. Did you know that?
I did not.
If it says nutritional information on the back, that qualifies as something that can be purchased with food stamps. If it says supplement information, that does not qualify for food stamps.
Okay.
Kind of a gray area there is if you were to go into a Walmart, for example, and go to the whey protein powders, like the protein powders.
Yeah.
Some of them, the majority of them, a lot of them say supplement information. So you couldn't buy that with food stamps. But some of them, because of their contents, say nutritional information on them. You can buy those with food stamps.
You can buy protein powder with food stamps?
If it says, yep. So like Orgain, I think is one that
helps with hair growth.
That's Rogaine.
Oh.
You flipped your R and your O. But no, there's several brands where they throw something else into it, so it actually becomes a food stuff as opposed to just a supplement. Anyway, I thought that was kind of fun. Reaching into my knowledge base of food stamps there. But on these nutritional labels, the FDA requires that serving sizes appear in two formats: a weight format, so a weight, how much does it weigh, and an easily accessible household measure. For example, 3 ounces or 1 cookie or 27 grams, half a cup. But in the case of some products, the values just don't make sense. So here's a few that I am mad about. What do you think the servings? You get a sleeve of Oreos, let's just say. No, even better. You get one of those snack size of Oreos that come in like a Lunchable or something like that. Not even like the full battalion of Oreos that we would normally eat in a sitting. What do you think the serving size of Oreos is?
I think I actually know the answer. I believe it's 3 cookies is the serving size.
It's 3.
Which is
it's 3 cookies.
That's what I warm up with on the way to the couch with the package of Oreos.
Right. Like those are
that's like greasing the wheels.
They're a little, yeah. This package of Oreos is a little too heavy for my hand, but if I put 3 in my mouth, it's easier to carry to the couch.
I need to go ahead and coat the throat with a thin layer of Oreo so that the rest of the Oreos can go down easily.
Right. It's like cutting with a diamond encrusted. I don't know where I was going with that.
Let me ask you this. Are you one of those fucking freaks that just eats Oreos just right out of the package, and are you a dunker, a milk dunker, the way they're meant to be eaten?
Oh, I got to dunk. I got to
dunk.
Is way too dry. Too much dryness.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong, I do enjoy just snacking on one from time to time, but you've got to have a glass of milk if you really want to enjoy an entire 3-sleeve package of double stuffed Oreos in one sitting.
Another thing that I don't think enough people take into consideration is, the twisted apart tooth scrape all of the white stuff off.
Never been a fan of that.
Here's a thing that you don't know, but if you were to go to Home Depot and go into the paint section and grab yourself some sandpaper, you can find the same grit of sandpaper that is the cookie.
Yeah.
And so what I'm basically telling you is you are grinding away your teeth when you do that.
Yeah. 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 That's why I don't know if you notice my top teeth very flat on the bottom. It's because I was a fat kid. Here's a fun fact about Oreos that you probably didn't know that's true. Like that filling that's inside of them is like 60% lard.
Wow. Really?
Yeah, just a filler with some vanilla flavoring.
What's fun about you know what? Here's a thought. Have you ever had this weird thought? You're like, oh no, I got some oil on my hand. And then you put water on it. And you're like, it still repels the water.
Yeah.
So you wash your hands and then you go and you put more water. And it's like, crap, my hand is still repelling the water from that spot. Can you remember the last time you ate something in your mouth and you're like, oh no, now my mouth doesn't absorb water.
Now my mouth is waterproof.
It doesn't happen.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen. Your mouth is always somehow capable of dispelling the amount of, except for filling. Try it sometime.
It's because it's mostly lard.
I was going to say, it's like what they would use to waterproof moccasins, I think.
Yeah.
Because
that's a fact. They use Oreo filling to waterproof moccasins. And we use it for ducks and oil spills.
Yeah.
You just rub their feathers with Oreo filling.
And it waterproofs their mouths. Yeah. Crazy facts that we're throwing at you here. Here's one. Here's a question for you. Which one do you think is healthier for you? Fruit or Oreo? Just,
they're probably about the same.
Okay. Guess what? The serving size for Fig Newtons? 2.
And you'll never catch me, Dad, eating one. Because Oreos.
I love me some fig. I like Fig Newtons. You know what I like about Fig Newtons? I like the surprise that is.
Somehow I knew that you liked Fig Newtons.
Eating the Fig Newton and then the surprise of like 2 minutes later having no Fig Newton in my mouth, but then feeling a crack pop in between my teeth because I got a Fig Newton seed in between and it just pop like a little. It's like a natural fizz pop candy. It's fun. It's so fun. Leading potato chips serving size.
It's like 12 chips.
Yeah, 14 or 16 chips.
Which is
depending on
one
the
handful
package
for
size.
me, and I don't mean a handful where I take the other hand and eat the chips. I mean one handful
Right.
where you reach in and then shove them in the direction of your face.
Yeah, that's like a serving.
Yeah.
Here's another way. Figure this one out. An ounce of chips. Show me. Like, I can't even wrap my head around what an ounce of chips looks like to begin with, because they don't sit. We're not talking about Jess is using her hands to show how she would meticulously organize chips like she's some Egyptian engineer. No, here's how you do it. What I mean, Jess, is we're not talking about Pringles where they sit neatly. I don't know how to contain an ounce. It doesn't work. Anyway, 1 ounce of chips alternatively is the serving size for chips, 14 to 16 or 1 ounce. I don't know how they got there. Here's one. This is stupid. Cereal serving size, 1 ounce. Now, go and pour 1 ounce of any cereal into what is the standard American cereal bowl.
Yeah.
You can lose the cereal inside the bowl. That's how small of an amount that is in the bowl. Like, you will lose it. You'll be like, oh, where'd my cereal go?
Yeah, whenever I pour the milk in to the cereal, 1 ounce of cereal falls out the side.
Exactly. You have good cereal to milk ratio when you're losing cereal. And then it's a very hard job to carry it to the table.
And
That's
you're
the
going to
rule.
make a mess those first few bites.
Yeah.
Because you haven't accounted for the displacement that the spoon itself is going to give the cereal when you put it into the bowl.
Exactly. Or my face when I just put it right into the cereal and start nom-nomming away.
Here's one.
Here's one that serving
of
go
meat
right ahead.
is always supposed to be the size of your fist.
Really?
Yeah, which for me means I can eat like a 22-ounce sirloin. But yeah, if you're wondering how big a serving of meat that you eat, whether it be chicken or steak or what have you, it's supposed to be about the size of your fist, balled up.
Oh. Now, I actually, at one point, I was following this guy named Chris Gethin. It's spelled like Gethin, Gethin. Dude is a mountain. He's a bodybuilder, and he also has trained a lot of actors into their Thor bodies and other, dude's a machine. But there was a diet that he had as part of one of his programs a while back, and it was literally that. It was like, if it was a fist sized, you could eat it, whatever that was.
And obviously, we're not talking about thickness, but just like width and length.
We're talking about and I don't know if it's cross cultural or cross gender, whether this applies. But all I know is if you have a fist, you can eat that much food of something. All right, here's one that makes me mad. Serving size for soft drinks is 8 ounces.
I dated a girl that if you had a fist, you could make her squirt.
You mean like the soft drink? Is that why you brought that up, because of the Squirt soft drink?
No, I was talking about putting your entire fist in her pussy.
Oh, I was talking about soft drinks.
Oh, my bad.
8 ounces, 1 cup. Have you ever seen 1 cup?
Seen 2 girls, 1 cup.
Then you've seen how much soda you can drink. Here's the crazy thing. Most single-serve bottles are twice that size, at least. At least. Ice cream, half a cup.
That's insulting.
Half a
That is
cup.
insulting.
Yeah, just...
I I always get
None
so
of it
mad because
feels
we've
right.
got season passes for the zoo, and one of my favorite guilty pleasures is Dippin' Dots. I love Dippin' Dots. That's the superior ice cream, and Jess is shaking her head. Yes, she agrees. I like Dippin' Dots, though. I don't know if she'll agree with this. After they've melted just a little bit, not too much. That's peak Dippin' Dot eating, but you can only get Dippin' Dots in like fucking shot glasses, and they're like $9 for a shot glass of Dippin' Dots.
That's right. I think the reason you have to let them melt a little bit is because anything prior to that, you're eating something that tastes like it just came off the fuselage of the rocket that's about to go into the air.
Yeah, but it's still delicious.
It is.
The way it melts on your tongue, it's just something about Dippin' Dots, man.
You mean that burn?
No,
The
I
burn?
mean like just maybe the burn. Maybe the same reason I love Coca-Cola, because Coca-Cola's got that burn, you know.
Yeah, the burn that you're feeling when you eat Dippin' Dots is because it just came out of liquid nitrogen. That's a thing. Anyway, personal orange juice bottles. What they say you're drinking is 8 ounces. What you're drinking is 15.2 ounces. Oh, here's one. This goes right into, I believe, what we were talking about in the last episode. Ramen noodles. Did you know you're supposed to open the packet, break it in half?
Yes, I did.
And eat that? That's supposed to be the serving size. It's half of a ramen packet.
And I eat 3.
I eat 3 too.
That's 6 servings of ramen noodles.
Chicken noodle soup. 1 cup. No, you're going to eat 1 can. That's what
and they
what
kind
you're
of
gonna eat.
they kind of fuck us over just by the packaging thing. Like,
That's what I'm saying. Is the packaging is always a bloat on what the actual serving size is.
even if you just like go to grab a drink at a gas station, you're like, just the like, I'll get a Mountain Dew or whatever. Even if it's diet, you're still drinking like 3 servings of Mountain Dew, even though it's in a single serving illusion. You know,
A big gulp should feed a Tibetan village
for a month.
for a month. Personal bag of chips when you go buy a Subway sandwich or something like that. That's 2 meals worth.
Chase Ellerman in the
chips.
comment section just said, have you ever picked up a single serving bag of chips? It feels like it's just a bag of air.
Yeah, exactly.
And it does.
And this is a guy who he is equating something that we all can relate with, sad, but here's the level of sad that Chase Ellerman lives on a daily basis. He'll be like, hey, I'm going out with the wife, going to spend some time outdoors. And then he sends us photos and videos of a scene that looks like it came out of that movie, The Lighthouse, where he's just sitting on a beach and everything's gray.
Yeah, everything is always gray where Chase lives. It's like he died and he lives in the fucking limbo.
Yeah.
He lives
It's
wherever
like if
Nicole
Davy
Kidman
Jones
and her kids live in that mansion.
Yeah. It's like if Davy Jones's locker and Stranger Things had a baby.
Chase
That's
lives in Sleepy Hollow.
It's true.
It's like he lives wherever Tim Burton is from.
What's funny is nobody knows this, but we had to have him rewrite the description for the Tethers podcast because the first description he wrote of it was a quaint coming-of-age tale for a kid from the Pacific Northwest. We were like, it's not.
I think he's trying to break out of limbo.
Exactly.
Well, how did you die, Chase? And when? Are you a spirit from the 1800s?
1850s, actually.
Naturally, we can't see him, but we can hear him.
Well, you didn't see. Yeah, Kevin, Kent, before you joined, Jess and I had to do this like little weird thing with numbers and symbols on a board to bring him in because he can't click on a hyperlink.
That's why when I came in, there was all that background noise. It was just me passing through the dimensions.
He was.
I asked him if he was going to be at Crime Con. He says, depends on if you guys bring the board or not.
I am also going to need some sort of body to inhabit while I'm there as well.
We'll supply one. I've got a couple.
Dybbuk box, the origin story of Chase Ellerman. Yeah, Op actually bought Chase at a yard sale.
No one.
And a cursed pack of Yu-Gi-Oh cards.
You crack open the first pack and I just shoot out, here I am.
Chase pops out like the Babadook. Oh, all right. Well, here's a couple more. Granola. This one's just going to make you mad. They say you're eating 2 ounces, but we actually have no idea because who even knows what 2 ounces of granola looks like in the first place? Nobody.
I know. I just know that it's less than 3.
Health bars. You're supposed to eat 1 ounce, but what you don't know is most of the time with those health bars, they come in a twin pack. So you're eating twice the number you're supposed to eat. This goes on and on and on.
With
There are so many.
Everything.
Yeah. Sharing size of candy. What they say you're eating is half a pack serving. What you're probably eating is the whole package. Because I don't know if you've seen party size bags of chips lately or sharing size. Those were the sizes that we ate pre-child diabetes in the 80s. Anyway, I'll leave you with one more. Lucky Charms. They say you're supposed to eat 3/4 of a cup.
And anybody that's ever had Lucky Charms knows that is not possible. A serving size in reality is the box.
The box.
You ever taken cereal on the go?
Like in a bowl?
Oh, am I like really embarrassing myself? No, where you just put it in like a bottle, like cereal and milk in a bottle. Like I've got to hustle. Like I used to do it when I was going to work. I would get a bottle and put milk and cereal in it, and then you could just drink it while you're driving. It's like cereal on the go. You don't need a spoon. You just
none of us live near 8 Mile.
No, Jess is relating. She was gonna.
I will only eat cereal out of a very large cup.
Boom.
What?
This is a thing.
Wait, so do you mix it all up?
Shake it up.
Not a bottle.
And then you can drink and eat on the go.
While you're driving.
Give me, I've got to try this.
And one time I rear-ended somebody and the milk went all over the windshield.
Man, why are there fruity pebbles all over your dashboard?
Why does your face look like a geisha?
Unless it was Op in the regular, like, sir, I'm going to have to arrest you for what? You chose Cheerios to eat on the go like a fucking pedophile?
Shut up. Well, I actually have to go because Sammy's coming over. Remember Sammy, my niece?
I do remember Sammy.
Her and her husband are coming over. You don't want to know why.
Okay. That went a different way than you thought it was going to go, didn't it?
I just had flashbacks to everything I've ever posted on Facebook. I'm like, bad day. Don't want to talk about it.
I'll buy. Why are they coming over?
Because they're super excited about AI.
Why does that mean they have to come over?
Because they want me to show them the ropes. No, sort of kidding, but not really, because they actually are going to help commit me to my processes of actually releasing video and social media video, TikTok-tician stuff.
Hey, do you remember that time that I was just thinking the other day? We where was it? We went to Colorado.
Oh yeah.
And it was like this entire thousands and thousands of dollar trip, my plane tickets, your plane tickets, lodging, food, everything. It's like, hey, we're going to make an episode for 1159 Media of us in Colorado. We'll, visit some listeners, which we did. Yeah. I think like 4 listeners. Mm-hmm. And it was several days. I was away from my family for many days in an odd part of the United States. Actually, at one point, walking through the desert, pulling luggage behind me as a Kentuckian, and you were like, and we had mics on the whole time, cameras on the whole time. Yeah, you remember that?
I do actually. Check this out. These 2 little guys are called micro SD cards. It's 310 gigabytes worth of our whole life during those days is on these 2 little cards right here. Isn't that crazy? And there they'll stay.
You reckon anything will ever be done with those?
Well, one of the reasons I had such quick access to them is because my Doom pile says keep those right in front of you so you can remember to do it. They've been there for 4 months. Before that, they were in a drawer.
We'll release them around 2029, and it should be fun when we're making O.J. Simpson jokes. And those... Hey, you guys heard about this new show, The Walking Dead? It'll be a lot of fun.
We're going to release them all and hope that, it's going to make us blow up and everything, and then literally Jesus is coming back. So it's... Anyway, well, Sammy's going to be here with her husband.
Okay.
I call him B-Town. His name's Brandon.
Okay.
He's one of the most chill dudes you've ever met.
Okay.
Super smart.
Bye.
And pretty. He's very attractive.
Bye.
But he's married now.
Bye. 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 Bye.
Hugs, everybody.
Boom.